So I'm here with Rachel Shemirani, Senior Vice President of Barron's Market. Thank you for coming today and on Zoom.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. So my first question, was Barron's at all prepared for the rush of buying that happened when everything came down?
That's an easy question. And initially, no. It's really interesting because we've been also tracking what the grocery industry as a whole has been doing, so nationally, and what Midwestern states or even East Coast states, they're used to severe weather and kind of used to a heads up, if you will, to pre-stock their stores with necessities. Living in Southern California, we really don't have a heads up when there's an earthquake. So a lot of grocery stores in Southern California really aren't prepared or have the experience to all of a sudden stock up on water, toilet paper, rice, beans, all that stuff. What I think is helpful though that we had that maybe not many stores do is I'm calling you from our home office. Our home office is connected to our distribution center. So while we do lean on distributors for a lot of products, we also keep a lot of grocery products in our distribution center, about 1 to 2 months worth of product for typical sales. So when everything just kind of went, which for us was March 13th, Friday the 13th, all of a sudden we had so many customers flooding our stores. I think our sales tripled overnight. And they were still very high for a few days. And we were just, oh my gosh, what is happening? So I will say, having our home office connected to our central distribution center, we were able to get a lot of products through, because our distributors were having issues as well. They have got warehouses in Southern California. They really work on a system called Plan Demand. And basically that means if we're going to do a big display in all the stores of a particular item, we order up weeks in advance to make sure that we have enough product. Or summertime items, the distributors will order extra ketchup and mustard and pickles and all those items. But our distributors themselves were just kind of shocked with the amount of orders that were coming through all at once. So it was helpful that we had the distribution center. And then it feels like, March 13th was a month ago. It feels like it's been 6 years. Every single day has brought something new. Every single day has brought a new challenge. So pretty early on, when we realized that our distributors, rightfully so, were struggling a little bit, we upped our orders directly from the vendor where we could. And we were able to we just kind of foresaw, like, this, we don't know what to expect, but let's start ordering up on pantry items that have a long shelf life. And see what we can do. And I'm so glad we did it. So in about 4 months of typical backstock, we probably sold out within 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So someone who's not really proficient with the way the grocery stores work. So when you say order directly from vendors and distributors, it's normally the vendors go to can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Typically, vendors will work directly with a distributor. And that really, depending on the size of the vendor, that can be very, very helpful. That way the vendor doesn't have to have the burden of filling orders, placing orders, and then transporting those items directly to the store. We have purchased items directly from the vendor, but they typically come with a 3 or 4 pallet minimum. And depending on the item, let's say pickles, there's only so many pickles people typically buy over a 6-month period. And so, or even frozen items, definitely dairy items. We don't really keep any back stock on dairy items. So a lot of these items we buy directly from the distributor. And that's basically called case one ordering. So we're able to order just one case of an item if we need to, rather than pallets. And the distributor will deliver anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week to our stores. And we'll do mixed pallets of different products. And again, that really relieves the burden for us to buy an insane amount of product that we could never go through. And also helps vendors out. If a vendor is smaller and they really can't take on, delivering to even their local stores, working with a distributor, they're able to reach a much larger audience. And they're dependent on the distributor to not only kind of distributor can sell the product to markets. We always have distributor brokers coming in saying this is a new product that we just received and that we love, but also helps them physically get those products to the store. So that's kind of how it typically works. But with this pandemic, our distributors, I do want to say that there's plenty of food. There's plenty of food. And when this happened, that immediate stress on the distributor and on the grocery stores, we got that, we felt that. And that really was only because at the beginning, people were started hoarding items and bought way more than they needed. So now that things have calmed down a little bit, the supply chain is moving a lot smoother and easier, which is nice.
That's exactly what we want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my next question. So you're starting to see, are you starting to see the supply chain come back to normal, and are we not going to see shortages on the shelves as much anymore?
Absolutely. At the very beginning, a challenge that the distributors had, which we had never dealt with before, was when they were loading the trucks, because to fill these huge orders, the trucks were not able to pass the weigh station. So there's some weigh stations on the 5 freeway, on the 15 freeway, and they weren't able to pass. And so trucks were being turned around back to the distributor to unload some of that weight. And that was we had never dealt with anything like this. The distributors had never really dealt with anything like this before. But yes, because the consumer has stopped hoarding products, because we've put limits on certain products, such as toilet paper, frozen vegetables, we just got hand sanitizer in, but we will be limiting the hand sanitizer. Some of those hot products we've just put limits on just to help control it. But it's gotten really, really smooth. And I would say, probably starting a week and a half ago, we were about 95% stocked, which we couldn't really believe. We would walk into the stores and go, oh my gosh, you guys look really great. With the exception of just a couple of items, our stores have been pretty well stocked. I would say this week we're looking at about 98% stocked. I was just in one of our stores on Saturday to do my own food shopping. And the only thing that I didn't really see was the exact type of organic milk that I buy. But there was other kinds of organic milk. There was regular milk. And so we looked really good. So the kink in the supply chain has definitely been eased. And our distributors have just been amazing. They've been working so hard. And I just actually found out today that to help lessen the burden on their own employees, I mean, there's only so much people can work and get all this product out. They've been working with restaurant distributors and temporarily hiring their employees because they don't really have a job right now, but doing temporary hires for them to give them a job, give them a good job, and in the interim, and also help them get the orders out to our stores.
Is there anticipation that the supply chain could get affected again in the future if other parts of the country get sick or there's another order of some kind and there might be another rush?
Yeah, I mean, we're preparing for it as much as possible. We really have over ordered on a lot of the basic products that we have for a while. And we also have another plan that if this does really die down, that we can repurpose those products in the store. But I read this morning that Smithfield Ham ended up shutting down their manufacturing plant because many of their employees tested positive for the virus, which is heartbreaking and so sad. Because we work with smaller companies that are not necessarily in giant factories out of state, we feel much more confident that those actual manufacturers are really taking this seriously. Not to say that Smithfield wasn't, but I almost wonder that the state's government wasn't taking it as seriously as many as other states. So when we're working with local vendors, especially in California, and California I think has been, I mean, it's been such a hard time for the entire country, and I'm so impressed with pretty much most of Californians really taking the stay-at-home order very seriously and being very respectful when they come into the stores. But that's, direct leadership from our government. I think that helps the vendors as well, big time. And so when we're buying locally, we feel a little bit better about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can answer for other grocery stores, but do you maybe you have a sense of the grocery industry? Do you know when other stores are going to start having more shelves? The last time I went into a store, I still saw some empty shelves in some areas.
To be honest, I went to a few other stores the week before, just because I had to pick up some things, and I was really, really, really surprised and confused why these stores were not fully stocked. And I don't understand why that is. And these are national companies. Mm-hmm. National companies that are doing it right, I would say, is Costco. Costco has been doing a wonderful job. You could tell that they're really trying to get as much product as possible. And again, they're private label. A lot of their items are private label. So I know that they're working really hard to keep those items restocked. But now, CVS is doing a great job. I think no one's really going to CVS for some household items. They go to kind of the other big stores, but I am still very surprised that the bigger chains aren't as well stocked. And I don't understand why. We are pulling from the same distributors. And in any case, the distributors should be filling their orders first because they're much larger. And so I'm actually very surprised. I don't think that's true, though, in other parts of the country. In other parts of the country, it seems like the larger supermarket chains are bouncing back very quickly and coming up with more creative ideas and solutions. Something that we did early on, similar to the distributor, because being a smaller company, we can react quicker and be very flexible. We really don't have to get any of these ideas to a board of directors or anything. And so what I think has been helpful is we directly went to restaurant suppliers and said, okay, we know you're not supplying restaurants because of the stay-at-home order, but what can we buy from you? What are some staple items we can buy from you? And to be able to pivot so quickly and get all that product that they're trying to unload directly to the customer, that has been awesome. That's been hugely helpful. And there's also, we're finding a lot of restaurants are trying to, which I think is a wonderful idea, are becoming like mini grocery stores and trying to sell off, their eggs, their dairy, their bread, their meats, which I think is such a great innovative way to keep themselves in business. All those items are always needed by everybody. So I think that that's important that they're doing. So I get my educated guess would be for the larger companies, they really have to get a lot of new procedures, and there have been a lot of new procedures. It's constant. Is that they're maybe too big to react as quickly as some of the smaller companies.
Is Barron's Market seeing some innovative changes that you're maybe thinking, hey, this is kind of interesting way to do things, and we'll continue doing it even after this crisis is over?
You know, one of the successes of this is really prioritizing the health and safety of our employees and our customers. We don't really know what the future of our society is going to look like in the next 6 months, in the next year. We really don't know what that looks like, but our focus has always been customer experience, customer experience, customer experience. Now we've added safety as a priority in that customer experience. And that has been so well received by our customers. The thing that we keep hearing time and time again is, I feel safe shopping in your store. And before this, that would never be a comment that came out of it. I love shopping in your store because of the samples. I love it because of the salad bar. I love it because of the olive bar. But not hearing, oh, I feel so safe. And so that may be something that extends beyond this. I will say we were one of the first people to install plastic barriers at the register, and I, for one, hate them. A lot of coming into a brick and mortar store and a lot of the experience of grocery shopping is interacting with our employees on a very human level. And it's not just going in and getting your milk. It's talking about your day to someone, just a few short minute conversation, and those plastic barriers subconsciously prevent that. So my hope is that when this is over, and yes, we'll adopt some of the some of the more stringent safety measures, I'm hoping those barriers will come down. That really is my hope, because we're still we're in the people business. It's very human to human, and that's been really important for us.
Okay, when we first started talking, you mentioned there were some challenges that you're dealing with. Are there any challenges that you want to talk about that have come up that you have dealt with successfully?
So, especially in the beginning, every single day we were getting direction from the health department and local government, but it was just constant. It's constant challenges, and for us, it's constant decision making. And it's decision making based on no experience and no history of dealing with this type of situation. And so I say the past 4 weeks have felt like 6 years, because every day has felt like a monumental day when we have made big decisions for the company inside the store very quickly and implemented them very quickly. And the next day is a whole new set of decisions that we've made. So I think we have been thrown in the fire, and this has definitely helped us all to think so much more quickly and to disseminate the facts really quickly, to identify, okay, if we make this decision, what kind of pushback are we going to get? How will our employees feel? I think that has been a good thing that has come out from the challenges of constant reacting to new information. I also will say that our employees have been unbelievable, and we know how it's scary for them. It's scary for them to be out on the floor. And if an employee doesn't want to come to work because they don't feel safe, we absolutely respect that, and we respect them. We know how scary this is, but for us, it's really making sure they're as safe as possible. They're feeling as safe as possible. They have an open line of communication to us, which we've always had, but this just feels much more important. And just, we just can't say it enough. I mean, our focus has always been our employees. And I remember at the beginning of this year, we were like, okay, let's dig deeper into our employees and really just how do we teach them to be the best of matching their passion and their skills to the right position so that they are just flourishing. You know, that's always been our focus. But this year we wanted to dig deep, and then we were hit with this, and they've just risen to the challenge in ways that we could have never expected. And so we're really, really, really grateful for them. And that just this challenge, I mean, the amount of trust that they have in us and the trust that we have in them, it's mutual and it's strong, and we're, you know, coming out of this, we're definitely going to be stronger.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add that you haven't said?
I think that, you know, just when you're going grocery shopping, whether it's at our store or any other store, you'll see there's a lot of procedures in place, wearing masks, you know, constant cleaning, 30 people in the store at a time. You know, everyone's kind of on edge a little bit, but just try and be patient. Our employees are really doing the best they can and really want to make it the most safe place for each other and for our customers. So that's just a little bit of advice that I have.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and this is a lot of really good information.
Oh, good. I hope it's helpful, and thanks for letting me talk about this. This has been great. Yeah.